Hey, what's going on, people? It's Alex, and this week's video is taken from a live stream that I did with my good friend Reece. We've worked with each other for about 5 or 6 years now, and he's a personal trainer and gym manager in the leisure centre that I work at. We decided to do this podcast slash live stream to talk about mental health. We talked about mental health in its relationship to physical health. We also talked about nature and how that can be good for our heads, and we talked about our mental health during lockdown. I also discussed my first ever wild camping experience, which is an absolute disaster. So if you're interested, then stay tuned and check that out. But if there's any topic that you're mainly interested in, I'm going to put timestamps down below that you can quickly search to the area of the live stream that you want to watch. So I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy the video, do give it a like. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. I hope you enjoy the live stream. Take care.
Also, I got someone in who don't know who you are, so just just obviously tell me who you are, explain sort of like
Yeah, sure.
sort of thing.
My name's Alex. Primarily at the moment, I am a video creator. I have a YouTube channel and I create outdoor videos. In ideal times, I'd like to be going out doing wild camping and stuff like that. I've got a lot of videos on my channel from going up to the Peak District down to the Jurassic Coast in Dorset and just getting out there and just getting outside and trying to see as many different places in the world that I can see, which was the plan for this year. I was hoping to go traveling with Liz, my girlfriend, but unfortunately that's been put on hold to probably next year, hopefully, if all goes well. So yeah, that's what I do. I make videos really and try and live life, try and enjoy myself as much as I can, try and care for the people around me, and yeah, that's it.
Still at the MC, yeah.
At an MC at the Malden Centre, yes. Yes. So for anyone watching who either hasn't seen Reece before, because I'm going to be putting this on my YouTube channel tomorrow morning, Reece is a very good friend of mine. We've been working together for, it's got to be about 5 or 6 years now. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah,
2014, 2015. So yeah, 5 or 6 years we've been, work friends. But what I've realised about work is that you don't really stay you don't just stay colleagues with people that you work with, especially in the leisure industry, being that it's such a young atmosphere. Man, the amount of relationships and incest that goes on in these leisure centres is just off the chain. So that's where I met my girlfriend. Yes, I know you're proficient in the ways. I know, absolutely. So that's how we met. We met in a leisure centre and done loads of different things outside as well, obviously. So
yeah, of course, yeah, mate. A few nights here and there.
Yeah, and what about you? What do you do, Reece, for those of the people that are tuning in from my side of the water?
Oh, I just hang around the centre for too long, just leave and come back. Yeah, that's how it goes, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
I work obviously at Malden Centre with Alex.
That's in New Malden in southwest London for anyone. Well, it's just outside southwest London for anyone who's not sure where New Malden is.
Yeah.
That's where we work.
Yeah, just work there as a fitness manager, and just sort of getting my sort of own private PT stuff like on the roll at the moment, like my private business stuff. So yeah, that's me, mate.
That's you. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. Well, what I wanted to mainly talk about was because obviously you do PT, which stands for personal training, and that's more physical stuff, but you obviously do have a bit of nutrition, and also mental health plays a big part in everyone's physical health anyway. So obviously you come to fitness from that standpoint. Today I think we're probably looking at more of the mental side of it.
A lot different from before. So like obviously I spoke to Paul a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to Rachel last week. It was like very fitness orientated, but I think especially with like COVID and lockdown and stuff like that, things like mental health, things like anxiety, depression, that sort of stuff is like is on the rise, like massively. It's something I'm studying at the moment actually, because I'm doing my exercise referral course.
Oh yeah.
And part of that is I think cover depression, anxiety, stress. Something else, but mental health is quite a big thing as part of it. So
okay.
Obviously it's a bit different from the last couple of weeks, but just obviously explain what you do and what it is you sort of get up to, and what you've been doing, especially over like lockdown and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, if we're talking about the first lockdown, which was late March last year, all the way through, and you got lockdown number 2 in November, and with the one we're on at the moment, where are we now, in February? I've been meditating, and that's
Yeah.
the main thing that I've been doing to keep my mind straight and keep my mind active, and also to keep my mind present and focused and positive of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So
Yeah.
have you ever done any like meditation, or do you know much about it? Or
A little bit. Like
yeah,
I downloaded that Headspace app like ages
awesome.
ago,
Yes,
and
sweet.
I
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
that a go. I've been like consistent with it and stuff, and what I've done is I've tried to do like I find it quite hard to switch off like at night.
Hmm.
So I have listened to a few like meditation like podcasts.
Yeah,
So like there's people talking about just meditation stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I haven't been like I'm not like religious with it or anything like that, and I
Okay,
don't do it
fair enough.
regularly.
I
So
wouldn't. I'd start by saying, for me, in meditation, I wouldn't say that I am religious with it either. I'd
mm,
say that I endeavour to do it every day, but if a day is really busy, I won't drag myself through the dirt for not doing it. So I don't force myself to do it. I think that's the number one rule for me, is that it's got to be kind of fluid, and it's got to support my lifestyle, and I don't want it to be
yeah,
something that is, concrete, set in stone, something that I have to do every day. So firstly, that kind of gives my attitude on it a kind of fluid, free attitude that's, I don't try and take too many things too seriously. And that's another thing I'm not going to take too seriously. So
mm,
I wouldn't say I do it every single day. So meditation, yeah, like you say, Headspace for me was the entry into meditation. It was created by a guy called Andy Puddicombe, who was a monk for 10 years at different places across the world. And he brought
really,
all of his experience that he gained.
no
He was
way.
in Russia and in the Himalayas and stuff like that. I was listening to him talking a few days ago, and
Mm,
he brought all of his experience that he got over that 10 years, and he put it into an app called Headspace. And it's all
I didn't
about
know that.
meditating. Yeah, it's all about meditating. This guy called Andy, and it's his voice, and it can be another, I think it's a lady called Eva, I believe, her voice that can guide you through the meditation. And what I've learned, and my kind of take on meditation, is mainly that it's all about being present in the moment.
Mm,
So many times us human beings, especially in the West, we get caught up in our heads thinking about the future, and often thinking about the past, and very rarely thinking about what's happening in the present time at
yeah,
that moment. So meditation breaks it down, really zooms into you being in the present. And basically the essence of it, if you do the kind of basics of it on the app, it's all about following the breath. So
mm,
he'll sit you down, and you'll listen to the sounds around you, take in your surroundings, close your eyes, kind of feel at ease and relaxed in just before you're about to meditate. So he kind of sets you up, and then you focus on your breath. When you close your eyes and you focus on your breath coming in through your nose, you feel the rise and the fall of your stomach or your chest. And the idea is that you try and follow your breath. So
yeah,
he says you've got to count for 1 on the in breath, and then 2 on the out breath, up to 10, and then restart. And it sounds really simple, that you should just notice yourself breathing and then exhaling, but
mm,
it's actually really difficult, because you'll find that loads of different thoughts come flitting through your head,
yeah,
um, from things in the future, things in the past, completely fantastical things that you never normally think about. But when you have that time, sometimes all sorts of stuff come into your head. And
mm,
the Headspace app has a series of videos that are really useful, and it explains how these thoughts going through your head, what they are and how to deal with them as well. So one of the examples is, imagine you've got, just think of the blue sky, and then the clouds in the sky. These are thoughts. What you know is, in the back of behind all of these thoughts, there is the blue sky. It's always going to be there. But these clouds pass in front, and they take your attention away from it. If you can get used to just watching those clouds pass, and just remember that there is, a clear mind, the blue sky up behind those clouds, then that makes it easier. And you can also think of it as cars going down a highway or a motorway. You know that motorway is essentially, it's clear if there's no cars on it, and those cars are your thoughts. So you just got to watch the thoughts go. So it's not about hanging on to a certain thought. It's about realizing you're thinking it and letting it go. Um,
right,
and this might all seem like, what's the point? Like, why would you Why would you want to remain present in the moment?
Yeah.
It's all bollocks. Like people do have that, and it's same with mental health. There's a stigma. We were talking about it earlier. A mental
Yeah.
meditation. People think meditation, all got to cross your legs, do some chanting, put your fingers all in some position like that, and that's it. But that's another stigma with mental health that people don't really understand. It's not necessarily always about that traditional type of meditation. So the reason why I want to clear my head and be present in my thoughts, there's another person I was listening to another day who explains it really, really well. His name's Ed Stafford. He's a survivalist. I heard him on a Russell Brand podcast, Under the Skin, which is brilliant. And he's got some friends who are Australian Aborigines, right? And they believe that they have three brains. And they believe that everyone in the world has three brains. The first brain is in our gut. That's our instincts, our flight or fight responses. That's the most important brain. That's where most of our decisions come from. The second most important brain, and the second brain, biggest one, is the heart. That's where we have all of our emotions, and obviously they factor into our decision-making process as well. And then lastly, the other brain, but the least important brain in their view, is our logical brain, the one in our head. And the word that they use to explain the brain in our head the word is Nanduparu, which I don't know if I pronounced that right, so apologies. But that translates into a tangled fishing net. So their word for their brain, their logical brain in their head, the ones with all the thoughts in it, they have a translation that directly translates to a tangled fishing net. And for me, when I heard that a couple of years ago, that really resonated with me, because sometimes my brain, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate as well, my brain feels like a tangled fishing net of all sorts of different past, present, future thoughts coming in and out of it. And I just wanted to streamline my thoughts, sort out this little fishing net, unpick it, and just get to a place where I'm just focusing on me, myself at that present moment, not worrying about the future or the past. So that's why I meditate. I don't know if that was clear enough for anyone who hasn't meditated before, but if you're interested in it, I suggest that you go and download Headspace. They do a free trial. You can do the basics. It's really beneficial. I've been doing it for just over a year now, and I think I'll be doing it for the rest of my life.
How often, like, are you doing it then? Do you think a week? And for how long as well? Like, how long for?
I go between 15 and 20 minutes in one kind of slot. So normally I wake up and I do it straight away, before I look at my phone, before I talk to too many people, because those sort of things are just extra things that come into your head, extra thoughts. So when I wake up, I'm nice and fresh. I like to do it straight away. So I'd say I probably do it 5 or 6 times a week in terms of the days. Like I say, I don't do it every single week. I didn't do it yesterday because I was busy, but I didn't let that get me down. I don't, concrete and regiment myself into doing it. So I'd say 20 minutes a day for about 5 to 6 times a week. I do meditating.
How did you, what was starting off? Did you take you weren't doing that much to begin with? Or?
Starting off, I'm the sort of person that when I find a new thing, I go for it. I'm very passionate about pretty much everything that I end up getting into. So I did it quite a lot for the first few months and loved it. And then I think we got into the first lockdown, and I can't lie, I didn't do it an awful lot. I was with my girlfriend every single day, and we'd meditate sometimes, but sometimes the other things would just get in the way. You forget, you end up chatting or go for a walk or do one of the things that we can do in lockdown, and sometimes I didn't do it. So it has been on and off, definitely. It's not something that I've kept to religiously, which is also interesting because it gives me some perspective for the times where I didn't do it. And sometimes I could feel in my head, I need to meditate. My head's getting a bit crazy. It's getting tangled. It's that tangled fishing net. I need to unpick it a little bit. And since probably about November time, I've been doing it. Yeah, pretty much every day, really. Yeah.
That's good. I think it's quite interesting, the free brains thing, because obviously the fight and flight is like, you do that without, there's no thought process. Like it just happens. And then your emotions always override your rational thinking. Like
That's it. Always.
And then that comes, it's quite interesting. That's good. But I mean, I think like we were saying earlier, like the stigma attached to meditation, because I think people think it's like you said before, like that sort of hippie They'd be sort of like sitting
Yeah.
legs folded, like
Yeah.
tie-dye pajama bottoms on, and
Yeah,
like sitting
shaved
with
head.
like but it's not, and I think like it can take a lot of forms in terms of like it can just be taking 10 minutes literally just to sit by yourself, like, or lay down by yourself or something in a room just for 10 minutes of the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just like
And it's
go on.
that, it's the sitting down and the laying down and stuff like that as well. But what a lot of people find is that they don't have 20 minutes. If you've got a couple of young children running around,
Yeah,
it's unlikely you're going to find that 20 minutes to sit down. It's absolutely understandable. But what the app does, and in general meditating, there is no rules to it. There's no labels or anything like that. You can do 20
yeah.
minutes. You can get a good 1 minute meditation. I've heard people say that the only time that they get a piece of time to themselves is when they're on the toilet or when they're making a cup of tea. And if you're making that cup of tea and you're thinking about, oh, am I late for work? What do the kids need from the shop? What's my husband or my wife doing or whatever? You're not present in the moment of what you're doing. If you're making that cup of tea, you're focusing on your breathing, you're watching the water pouring in, you're thinking about the heat that generates from the cup when you put your hands on it, you're present and you're in that moment. And all the time that you're focusing on that cup of tea and you're focusing on the sight, the sounds, the smells, the taste, all of that, you're not thinking about anything else. So
Mm,
in that 1 minute, you're giving yourself headspace. You're working on untangling, unpicking that little fishing net. So
mm.
you don't necessarily have to do it for 20 minutes lying down and sitting down. You could do it on the train. You could do it on the bus. Don't do it while you're driving because you'll end up in a world of bother. But yeah, so you can do it at any time, really. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
can.
think like in like for me to like in relating to that, I think that like I spoke about this with Rachel last week. Is
Yeah.
like sometimes when I'm training, it's got like nothing to do with like getting stronger or like fitter or anything like that. It's like it's at the end of like a really shit day or something
Hmm.
that's like happened throughout the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you know, like the environment we're in, like some like bad things happen sometimes, or like you know, just like people and stuff like that. And it's literally like when I get to the gym, it's literally headphones in. That's an hour where no one relies on me. I don't have to respond to anyone. I don't have to do anything for anyone else. I don't have to speak to anyone else. And that's just like my church time. Do you know what I mean?
Church time, take us to church.
So,
Yeah, okay. So when you're
um,
training, you're pretty much saying you almost pretty much get into a meditative state where you're only focused on banging those weights
I
or
think so.
whatever you're doing in your time where you're exercising. You're
I
not
think so.
thinking about anything else, or
I think so. Sometimes like it's hard, especially because if you're training for about an hour, it's
mm,
hard not to like let your mind wander and stuff like that. But I think it definitely is. It's nice to train with someone, like having a training partner and stuff. But I also do like the odd time to just put my headphones in and not speak to anyone or not. Especially you know what it's like in work, like
hmm,
people sort of asking things and like customers and staff and stuff like that. You obviously don't. It's part of the job. You don't mind helping and
yeah,
stuff, but that's the time where like I don't need to speak to anyone,
yeah,
and like no one, no, like people know not to come and speak to me. So
yeah,
it's I think yeah that sometimes
okay,
because sometimes it's hard not to be distracted and stuff like that, and especially if you see
absolutely,
people and
absolutely,
you're on the
yeah,
phone
yeah.
and stuff. But I think yeah a lot of the time that is what training is for
Mm.
me.
I suppose it's more difficult because you've got your eyes open. So many more things are stimulating you. When you do meditating, generally your eyes are shut,
Yeah,
and you don't have you set yourself in a place where there's not many other people around. But
yeah,
I think that meditating is very similar in to physical training and running and cardio training and weight
mm,
training as well. In that it takes a long time to get good at it. Like your muscles
yeah.
at the start, I mean, I'm looking around like I've got an audience, but I've been to the gym with this guy and he's an absolute beast. I mean, I can't compete. But
Really?
if I had carried on when I first started training back in 2017, if I had carried on training, my body would have got used to it. And it's the same with meditating is when you first
Mm,
start, it's really difficult. And even now I'm only a year in, so I'm not very experienced at all, but I still get really difficult days that my
mm,
mind is all over the place. And like you, I'm sure when you do weights, one day you'll be able to hit 80 on the bench press, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
next day, no chance,
yeah. No
because
way.
it's just a different day. Your whole body's feeling different, your mind state's different. So yeah, the brain's like a muscle. You've got to work at it. So
Yeah,
meditate in the same sort of thing to physical fitness. It does take work, and you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be good at it straight away, and you're always going to be able to improve.
yeah. I think on the back of that then, and seeing as how it's sort of like merged into something
Oh
else,
yeah, yeah.
keeping brain active, um, especially over lockdown and stuff like that. Like, what have you been doing?
Over lockdown, the first lockdown, I tell you, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, yeah, because I think that through the 6 years of 6 or 7 years of full-time working, I really needed a break. I really needed some time off. Honestly, to get something like, to get headspace, to just relax. And also the summer we had last year was brilliant. So
Yeah, it
I
was
spent a
good.
lot of time, reading. I tried to stay motivated by learning some new things. So I've been trying to learn Spanish for the last year.
Oh, that's
Did
cool.
a
How's that going?
little. Yeah, it's going all right. Yeah, I use Duolingo, the app, which I'm sure you know about.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
doing that. So yeah, that's really good. I was planning to go to Colombia last year,
Mm.
and unfortunately that never happened. So I was going to Colombia to try learn Spanish for that. So unfortunately that never happened. So yeah, learning a new language was something that I tried to keep myself balanced and motivated with. I tried a bit of learning the piano. That didn't go too well. Recently bought myself a harmonica to
A
practice.
harmonica, yeah.
Yeah, look, let me
Sick.
grab it. Oh, here it is. Here's the harmonica. So
Yes.
yeah, they got the harmonica. Hang on, 2 seconds.
We see you in the woods with a bottle of moonshine and your harmonica just sitting by a tree, mate, and just playing the spoons.
Sorry, mate. What are you laughing at?
I thought you had your headphones plugged in. I said we
Oh no,
see you sitting in like Epsom Downs woods with a harmonica and a bottle of moonshine playing the spoons and that as well.
all over it, mate. Absolutely, yeah, that's it. So it's a pretty difficult piece of instrument to play. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
working on it, but you're right.
How
Yeah.
is that?
Sorry, Reece.
Young,
Yeah, it's Liz.
young Liz.
Oh, she's gone now. She's gone.
Special guest appearance, mate.
Yeah.
How are you learning that? Like you like
YouTube.
through? Oh yeah.
Yeah, YouTube. I learned everything through YouTube. Everything. So there's beginners lessons and stuff like that. And I did the same with piano as well. Didn't go so
Mm,
far on the piano. I wanted
mm.
something that's quite portable. So take this out camping with me, do some blues tunes on top of a mountain or something. So yeah. So to keep other things, to keep motivated and keep a balanced lifestyle. Obviously, been going outside and making videos, which is something that I love to do.
Yeah, so just obviously touch on that a bit in terms of like your camping and outdoor, like your
Yeah,
walks
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah, so I got into nature quite a lot, and the benefits of nature, and started studying it more in our relationship to nature and stuff like that. Since March last year, when we started in the lockdown, and I think it was interesting to start with, because I was just doing walks in Surrey, which is the county that we live in, and just doing walks and stuff. And I watched on YouTube people doing wild camping, and I've always been an outdoor type of person, but never really thrown myself into it as such. And I did film studies at school, and I love nature documentaries and stuff like that. So I'd make some videos. So Liz and I went halves on a GoPro that we were going to go traveling with, and I just started making all these nature videos. Went camping in July last year with Luke and Bradley, a couple
Mm.
of people. If you've been following the channel, you might know it. If you're from anywhere near New Malden, you might know them. And that was an absolute disaster. Our first
Too
time
bad.
camping. It was horrendous, mate. It was good, but it was bad. So we drove up. They came here and they picked me up about 4 o'clock in the morning. We drove up to the Lake District. Good 5 hour drive. Our plan was to go for 2 nights and 3 days and climb Scarfell Pike, which is the highest peak in England, and that was our plan. We got there on time. It was lashing down with rain, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We were on schedule. Then we took a few wrong turns on the maps, and we didn't know where we were. We thought we could kind of cut across. There was a forest, so the road was the trail we were meant to follow was kind of looping around like that. And obviously, we thought we could just cut straight through the forest. So we've gone through this forest. We've hit mad amount of marshlands. We had water up to our knees. It was, oh mate, it was not good. But we got to the camp at the top of this mountain type thing. It's called Karen's Crag, and we were
Karen's Crag.
Karen's Crag, yeah, sounds a bit off, doesn't it? Yeah, so we camped there, and so first of all we were tired. We were wet, soaked through, and then because it was our first time, we had no idea about mosquitoes, and we went in July, obviously, so it was very hot and there wasn't a lot of wind that night. Mosquitoes ate us alive. We got to camp at about 5 o'clock in the evening. We were gonna not set up till about 8 or 9 because the idea when you do wild camping is you pitch late and you leave early so that you don't get detected. But on our first time, we just had to cut it. We just had to say we need to get these tents up. We need to get inside because these mosquitoes were eating us alive. So we cowered in our tents for about 4 or 5 hours until it was ready to go to bed. And then we trudged back to the car and went home. So what turned supposedly was a 2-night, 3-day trip. We ended up getting absolutely drenched, bitten alive, and went home 2 days early. So
I'm surprised. To be fair, I'm surprised after that you weren't just like, fuck this. This ain't for me, man.
We were, mate. We were not happy, And I think what the big mistake that we made, and I've made this mistake a few times before, is that we thought we could do far more than we could, and we didn't have the experience.
Did you rein it in a bit the next time?
Yeah, next time we went to Mam Tor in Peak District, and yeah, we planned it out. We got on the route. We changed it slightly, but because we had a lot more time, and that was brilliant. We all really enjoyed that one. My first wild camping with those guys is not on my channel, but you can find the Mam Tor one on my YouTube channel if you're interested and you want to find it. But yeah, that was not a great experience, and it's because we weren't experienced. We made the wrong decisions, and they say that good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. So
that's good. I like that, mate.
God, yeah, mate. Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
You thought I was going to say Gandhi or something like that, but no.
Jason Statham.
I was watching The Mechanic the other day, and he pulled that one out the bag, and I thought I better scribble that one down. So yeah, that's my quote for the week. Yeah, that's good. Good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. That's
good, mate. I like that.
There you go.
Quote,
Hashtag
Jason Statham.
Love
Mechanic,
it.
Yeah, love that.
Hashtag mechanic, yes, Liz. So that's where it started for me. Yeah, lockdown and just wanting something different to do and wanting an adventure, and then everything from there has led me to where I am now.
So how many have you done, do you think, so far, like outdoor, like because you go, how often do you stay, I'll get it out eventually. When you go for like your walks and stuff, do you always camp, or do you sometimes just go for a walk?
If I go local, then I just walk around. There's plenty of places in Surrey. It's such a big county, and I love walking in the woods. And believe it or not, Surrey is actually the most densely populated county in England for woodland. So it's got the most amount of woodland. So there's loads of walks in our local area that we can do. But if I'm traveling further afield, if I'm traveling more than a couple of hours away in the car, then yeah, I'll camp. Yeah.
Do you prefer that?
Normally go up to the peak. Oh yeah, I love the camping. Camping, it's brilliant. And I think that the whole outside and being more immersed in nature is really important for me. I feel strongly that us as human beings have a far stronger connection to nature than we do to bricks and mortar and, phones and stuff like that. If you put it into perspective and put it on to kind of a timeline, Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Man started to evolve out of Africa and use tools and stuff like that 2.5 million years ago. And then we only started to have settlements and houses 12,000 years ago, when the agricultural revolution happened, when people were farming, creating wheat and stuff like that. That's the first time that people started to use houses. So human beings that have been around for 2.5 million years, and only for the last 12,000 they've been living in houses.
Yeah.
So my calculation on that would be we've been living in houses for 0.5% of our existence. So the other 99.5% of human experience has been in nature. It's been
Yeah.
foraging and hunters and gatherers living within a couple of square kilometers for their whole life and living off of the land, and greenery was all around them. And for me, that just, it means that we must be more compatible in nature than we are in the city. Henceforth, me going out for more extended times in nature. That's why I like to spend a lot of time outdoors and spend time overnight as well.
What's the longest you've done? Like, what's the longest you've been in, like, done an overnight? No, not overnight. Like, what's the longest you've done, like, gone out and camped for, like, nights wise and stuff?
Only two. Only
Yeah.
two. Yeah, I've not done a massive long trip. I've got some things planned. We'll chat about later, because we're going to chat
Yeah.
about our plans for
Post.
after the lockdown. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, only 2 nights is the
Where's
most that
your
I've
favourite?
been away for. Oh, where's my favourite? The Lake District is phenomenal. It is unbelievable, the landscape there, and the mountains, and the views, and the people up there as well. That's beautiful. Peak District again is such a beautiful place. It's just below the Lake District, but I have to say my favourite is the coast. I've only ever camped once on the coast, but I think I enjoyed that one the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about the coast, I think.
Whereabouts?
I camped at a place called Winspit Quarry, which is a disused quarry and mine in Winspit, which is close to Swanage. It's in Dorset. It's on the Jurassic coast. And yeah, I went down there, parked in Swanage, walked only about 10 miles or so, camped in this abandoned quarry, and came back. But I think that the coast is the best for me. I love the sound of the waves when you go to sleep. And
Yeah.
I also love the wildness of the coast. I've come to realize recently that it's actually one of the only places in the UK that is truly wild. You might think that, Surrey Hills is wild, or Lake District is wild, Peak District is wild. To an extent, it's wild. You've got sheep that are deliberately put there to graze on the grass and keep it to a certain level and stuff like that. And there's signs up and that. But when you get onto a ragged coastline, no one's altered that. No, there's not been any animals put on to stop the evolution of the geology of the rocks and stop the waves crashing on it and stuff. Nothing is there to stop it. So for me, it becomes the wildest place that you can go is on the very coast, especially when that water is crashing up against those rocks. You've got an overload of senses with everything. So I would say the coast is my favorite place to camp, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. Yeah.
I have yet to do the camping, even though you have. You when you tell me about it, I'm like, yeah. Do you know what? Actually, I could do a little bit of camping and stuff. It's then when you tell me that you've been camping and it was like 1 degree or 0 degrees and you've woken up, I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Sometimes it can be stressful. Sometimes it can be dangerous as well if you're not prepared, if you don't have the right equipment. But most of the time, if you ease into it, so I'd suggest that anyone looking to do wild camping, which I'm sure a lot of people will want to do this year because of the fact that we probably can't go abroad and people are doing staycations.
yeah,
Wild camping is going to be something, especially at campsites, but wild camping is going to be something that people are going to be doing on a more wide level. So I would say that if you're starting out and you want to go, try something nice and easy, 10 kilometers to a place where and you've checked out, you've been before, and then you come back as well. And there are rules around wild camping. Technically it's illegal unless you have the landowner's permission and stuff like that, and you kind of need to get savvy of how to do it. So go on YouTube, watch some videos. There's loads of how-to videos on YouTube, and you can check out my channel if you want to. If you're interested. Would you come with me, Reece? Would you come camping?
I'll definitely
Remember
try
we're recording this? Sweet.
Yeah,
Verbal contract.
Oh mate, I'll definitely try. It's something to try this, like, different. Do you know what I mean? And a bit of a different push. Like Emily's put on there. Said I'm missing out there. The weather's warming up now too.
It is, Emily. It absolutely is.
It's warming up. It's just not quite warm enough. But no, yeah, I would definitely try it. I think I would. It's just like obviously one other thing to talk about as well is the freshwater swimming.
Oh yeah.
Um, is obviously Sue tried to get me onto the freshwater swimming and stuff, and she's still swimming. She was swimming like a little while ago when it was like
3 degrees
whatever it
in the
was.
water.
Oh, yeah, Liz is on that. Liz is like, if I can do it, you can.
Liz has
I
been
don't know,
camping with
Liz.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, she's probably a bit more strong-willed than me. But she was doing that, and she was like, "Oh, you should come and do it." And I'm like, "Nah." Kerry's in now. Kerry will know because she hears Sue
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it in the office, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
she was like, "Come, obviously, and do it in the summer or whatever when it warms up a bit." It's good. But you did it, didn't you? You tried it a little while ago.
We did it in, when was it now? It must have been October, something like that. And it was my first ever time wild swimming. We went to a place called Frensham Ponds in Surrey, which is a beautiful place. And yeah, Sue's been doing it for a couple of years now. And swimming is a massive part of her life, which is something that she brought me into. And she actually texted me the other day asking me to come again, which I haven't
Oh,
yet
did
to
she?
reply to. Yeah, she did. Yeah, but I'd love to do it again. Yeah, wild swimming was just in addition to wild camping. You know, I said one of the reasons why I do it is because I wanted to immerse myself
Yeah.
more in the nature and get an idea, you know, that 99.5% of human existence that's been in nature. I wanted to
Mm.
unlock another avenue of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting in the water was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. It was like a reset button. It was obviously freezing cold, and your body is shutting down areas of your body that is not essential, and it's diverting blood from your fingertips to your heart and your lungs because it thinks that you're shutting down. It's trying to survive. It's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's
I
brilliant.
saw Don McGinty did it a little while ago, innit? I
Oh,
think
did he?
it was just before this lockdown came in. I think he went and did it
Yeah,
with
I
his
think I
sister.
saw that. Okay.
Yeah, and I spoke to him about it, and he was like, it's just like it's crazy. He's like your mind. He's like, you can't think about anything. He's like, your body is literally in survival mode because the
That's
water's
it.
like next to like it's like 0 degrees, 1 degrees, 2 degrees, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah, you just he's like, and then you come out and he's like, you feel like quite refreshed and that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, he was just like, you just can't think about anything like at all, nothing, just because you can only do it for about. I think Sue says she only does it like in cold, like really cold water for about. I think it's about 10 minutes, 10 minutes, like maximum, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah. I went and it
Oh,
was, I think I went and it was 9.3 degrees, which is tropical compared to what it was a few weeks ago when everything was icing
yeah,
over. But I stayed in for 10 minutes and she said, get out because you're enjoying it. Get out while you're enjoying it. Don't get out when you need to get out because your body's shutting down and you're going to be on the side of the river just absolutely freezing, and it's going to take a long time to get back from that. But also, the more you go, the more that your body gets used to the cold, and you can form a barrier
yeah,
against it, and
mm,
you learn how to control your breathing and stuff like that. But it's interesting what you say about Dom, saying that it clears your mind. You can look at that as another
yeah.
form of meditation. You know,
Well,
that's
yeah,
no, that's it. So
and it's because it's only for about 10 minutes. But yeah, he said it was hard, but because he went down to the coast where I think his sister lives by the coast or something. It
it's
was
even
like
colder down
seawater, and
there.
he was like, "Oh, mate,
Yeah,
yeah." He said it was
yeah.
so cold, but he did say it was like hitting like a reset button in his head because he you literally you're just survival mode. Like you can't think. It's literally just like like your body. You're just trying to like survive, literally.
Yeah, that's it. You're totally getting
Kerry,
out of your comfort zone. Totally out of your comfort zone. Yeah, Kerry,
did
stick into the
Kerry,
hot tub, and Emily, I don't blame you. Stay at the swimming pool. If
Kerry
it
actually has a
maybe
hot
one
tub
day.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
waiting for
because she
that
told
six
me.
six people outside rules to come in. What's it? Six people allowed in people's back gardens.
That's it, mate. Rule of six
Yeah,
outdoors,
when's that?
mate.
Sometime in
Yeah,
May or
well,
something, isn't it?
well, yeah. May will be round Kerry's, mate. Prosecco and jacuzzi on the go.
Love it.
Um, so yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So what's next? What we got on the?
So I've been wanting to ask you because we talked about my kind of like nature and meditating and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
What's the difference, do you think, being a personal trainer and being someone in the fitness industry as a professional? What do you see as the relationship between mental and physical health? How do they link into each other? How do they coincide? How do they help each other? And how do they hinder each other as well?
Um, they go hand in hand. So I think like they're a hindrance to each other when they're not you're not looking after yourself. I think so. Like I always try and say to people when they start, especially when they come in for like an induction in the gym or something like that,
Yeah.
that people don't realise the psychological like benefits of training. And
Hmm.
just being no, it doesn't have to be training. It's active because some people come into the gym, all they do is like walk or cycle on the bike, or do you know what I mean, or just like low level resistance stuff. But it's just the
Hmm.
exercise. But once you explain to people that thing is when you're like I said earlier, sometimes when I train, it's my time for me, and that's like my sort of space and stuff. Um, but it's just everything that comes hand in hand with the training and the psychological bit. So once you start training, you start feeling better just naturally because your body releases endorphins when you train,
Yeah.
and when you exercise. So
Mm.
you start feeling better. When you start feeling better, then you know, and the more you train and stuff, you start looking better. Then you start feeling
Yeah.
more confident. You're more happy. You sleep better. Um, it's also the social aspect of it as well, like getting into that environment where there's other people, and especially
Hmm.
in like somewhere like where we work. Um, Sometimes it's hard to get a proper workout done because it's just,
Always chatting.
especially me, yeah, because I just like motor mouth, like I can't stop myself from chatting and stuff. But it's that aspect as well, and yeah, so the link between the mental health and physical health is like when you feel tired, you even though you're tired, if you exercise, you get more energy. Do you know what I mean? You feel better and
Hmm.
you're more alert. Um, because you exercise, you need to drink more. You're getting more water in. That just makes you less tired, less fatigued, all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So, um, plus it's also like things like routine, um,
Yeah.
which keep, especially sort of later on in life, is keeps you going. So
Hmm.
obviously you remember I was talking about that guy who's 98 and
Yeah.
he's come into the gym constantly and stuff. Like he's 98 and he recovered from a stroke.
Having a stroke, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's obviously been exercising for like probably the majority of his life. He's given that he's
Oh, I'd say so.
98,
Yeah.
um, and that helped with his recovery, obviously. But also it's something to it's part of like his day or his week. I think
Mm.
when you get to that age, or even just now, especially people working at home, it needs to be part of your routine, part of your day. If you have
So
that,
it's almost like probably wakes up and doesn't even think about going to the gym. He's already putting his trainers on.
yeah,
He's
exactly,
already
yeah,
thinking about what he's doing. It's not even
exactly,
a question in his head as to am
exactly.
I doing this? Am I doing this? And it's just part of their day. Which that's a great way to keep self motivated in terms of mental health, in terms of motivation.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. And like one thing I said about I said to Rachel last week about what was one of the good things that was to come out of the lockdown and then the restrictions that came back in to the gym is that you had to book a session.
Mm.
So that had to
Yeah,
be that had to be routined as part of and booked as part of your day. So automatically in your head, like, right, I've got an appointment. It's just like the doctor or something. I've got an appointment
yeah.
that I need to turn up to. So once you have that, and especially now, like I say, with people from working from home, and that one important thing is to definitely structure in, even if it's like you say, like your walk or
Hmm.
something like that. If you structure that in as a scheduled part of your day, like you say, right, I'm going to walk for 1 hour today. That's in my calendar, in my
Mm.
reminders and stuff like that. And it's just it. You have to turn up. You feel like more inclined to turn up to do that. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
yeah, like I said, I'm doing my exercise referral stuff at the moment. And it part of treatment for part of it is covering exercise, prescribing exercise
Yeah.
to treat things
Mental
like
health issues.
three parts of it that we're covering is stress, depression, and anxiety.
Anxiety. Yeah.
Um, and that's through prescribed exercise.
Mm.
So the link is hand in hand, and then it's like it's vice versa as well. So um, if you don't look after yourself,
I think the trouble with those three mental illness issues that people experience, that on some level, I'm sure everyone probably watching, and you and I both have come into some sort of experience with stress or anxiety
mm,
or depression. Um, it's getting, yes, yeah, I get it. Physical exercise is good for you, but it's getting yourself off of the bed, out of the house, into the sunlight to go and do this sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So I would say that if you are someone that's struggling with, and not just stress, anxiety, depression, or anything like that, could be a whole host of different things. OCD is something that I struggled with for a long time, and sometimes that stopped me kind of going outside and talking to people and going outside the house. But I think the good thing to get yourself into it, if you are struggling, is small steps.
massive, yeah, huge. Like one thing that I encourage people to do is, like, what I mean, like, not even, doesn't have to be lifting weights, doesn't have to be running, doesn't have to be uh, a workout class or personal training, anything like that. Is one thing you just encouraging people to do is just get out of the house,
Yeah,
and especially, like I said, now moving forward, it's probably going to be quite a big um, thing now, and companies will be probably carrying on like this for probably forever, is having a lot of people working from home. Um,
yeah,
and if that's the case, like, I know for a fact, like, I know some people that are working from home that don't leave the house for days. And
mm,
it's just, if you don't, but they go for walks on the weekend and stuff like that. But I think even if just moving more, like, so encouraging
mm,
people just to move more, even,
mm,
it's like even just on a lunch break or even when you
mm.
finish, we just go out and walk.
I think you only need half an hour to 45 minutes a day
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
most
don't
days
need.
of the week. Don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
much.
I think the recommendation is, like, I think it's like 30 minutes of um moderate, not like vigorous, like moderate activity per
A
day
brisk
or something
walk,
like that.
say.
Yeah, like a brisk walk, something like that, or it's I can't remember now, 150 minutes of like vigorous exercise per week. So so that's only like two and a half
Less than three
hours.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so like Emily said there, like getting out fresh air and change of scenery and stuff like that. That's why
I think, yeah, go on.
yeah, even just like for something like walking or running or stuff like that, I find it hard. It's obviously it's much better to do that in where your environment's constantly changing, rather than running on a treadmill or
Yeah.
what I mean, walking somewhere. But as long as you get out and stuff like that, and I think, like you said before, like, especially England, like the area that we're in and stuff, we actually have a lot of greenery and a lot of
Yeah, we've got so many opportunities.
yeah, yeah. And I think even just doing that, like, just the one thing I can encourage people to just do at first is just move more. And then, like I
Hmm.
say, even if that's just going out for like a walk for half an hour, even 20 minutes, whatever it is, like, even if it's
Walk
just
into the
20,
shops instead of driving.
yeah, just something simple. Because, like, yeah, there's no need to, you can get close enough, and you haven't got enough as that much shopping to do, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just
Mm.
even if it's like, rather than
Yeah,
doing like one massive shop at the end of the week in the car, do like
do
a
it
little
every
bit
day,
of
but
it
you're on a
every,
walk.
yeah, do a little bit of shopping every day. Walk to the shops, come back. Walk. It
Yeah,
might be
it's
a bit
about fitting it
tedious,
in.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it's part of
it's about
that's
balancing your life.
yeah,
Like I said at the start about meditation, you might not have 20 minutes. Your life might not allow you to have that 20 minutes, and there are a
yeah,
lot of people that
definitely.
have that. But you start small. You make that cup of tea, and you remain present in the moment while you're making your cup of tea. And it is the small things, and I think that's very important, and very important to say.
Yeah,
Everything in
100%.
moderation, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And I think, yeah, just the one thing I can encourage people to do is just, yeah, move more. And if that means like just walk into the shops and back, even if it's like every
that's
other
it.
day, rather than
That's all you need.
driving to the shop, yeah, at the end of the week. But yeah, I think like the link between physical and mental health is just like they just go hand in hand. Then it's like the flip side. If you're not active and if you don't get out and you don't do things, that's when things like anxiety and stress and depression, that's when they do take over. Because if you don't get out the house and don't exercise and stuff, then that even just in the sense of being in like a situation where there's people around and stuff like that will start to make you anxious. And do you know what I mean? Just being in that environment, if you don't leave the house for like 2 or 3 days because you work from home now, the effect that that's going to have eventually when you do get out into like a normal world again is going to be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just like all the other stuff as well. Like I said before, like exercise and releases endorphins, so it makes you, it makes you feel good. But it doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be exercise. It's like you said, and like I said earlier, it just has to be a walk or just getting yourself into, like Emily said, getting yourself into like that, just the scenery and different environment, especially the nature thing. Like, I mean, some people aren't, too interested in that, but I think that, like, personally, like the nature documentaries and shit, like I love all that. I love all that shit. Like, so it's nice to be out in it, but it's just that time, I think, for your physical and mental well-being.
Like you say, it doesn't have to be rigorous. And I would suggest to anyone that is in a spot of bother and they want to go outside, go into nature, and use all of your senses. There's something that the Japanese do. It's called shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing, and that's about using all of your senses when you go out into the forest. And they say you don't have to walk very far. I've got a book about it. I think the longest walk that they recommend is 5 kilometers, which is about 3 miles, which isn't very far. You walk at a very slow pace and you use all your senses. So you're listening to the birds. I went for a walk this morning, and shinrin-yoku was in my mind as I was doing it, just trying to activate my senses. And I went round for about an hour and a half with the dog, and the soundtrack that the forest had this morning was it was phenomenal. The birds were singing, and you could hear about 4 or 5 different bird songs at any given time, walking around the whole walk. And that was just things that you hear. Then you've got things that you see, things that you smell, and things that you touch as well. I'm always touching stuff when I'm going out into the forest and smelling things and touching things. It's like when you go Primark with the missus and she's touching every other coat rail to try and feel the fabric on the different items of clothing. That's like me in the forest. I wonder what this lichen smells like. Oh, that's a nice mushroom. Let me have a little feel. Even just picking up grass and giving it a smell. So, so using all of your senses is really important. It doesn't have to be rigorous. It can be a slow type of thing. So if that interests you, go and search up forest bathing or shinrin-yoku and you'll find some more interesting stuff about that. So
that's cool. No, it's good that it's interesting you mentioned like the senses and stuff, because people's obviously senses stuff, they sort of switch off, especially when you're accustomed to the same thing all the time. You know what I mean? And same routine, same things that you're doing and stuff like that. You just absorb all the same things that you normally would. So I think even just as if you haven't done anything like that at all, even if you just do it once, just try it. It's just it's good for you to like do something that challenges yourself in a different way.
I agree.
Like, you know what I mean? I agree. In a different way. So that's why I said I'll be happy to do the camping, because it'd be something nice to try.
I'll take you on a trip. I'll take you on a trip this summer.
We'll wait until it gets into double-figure degrees.
Don't worry about that, mate. Don't worry about that. As long as you've got the right kit, you'll be toasty in my one-man tent. Trust me, don't worry about that. Yeah,
well, is this
it'll
just
be fun.
Double-decker it, mate? We've got bunk bed tents, yeah?
All day long, mate. All day long. Talking of camping, then, coming to the end now. We've been going nearly an hour now, haven't we?
Yeah.
You're right. It does go quickly.
It goes fast.
So obviously some recent news that we've been getting in the news with the old roadmap for the end of, hopefully, fingers crossed, we are going to be out of it.
End of lockdown,
they're saying June, aren't they? So I had a little read up about everything earlier, and I'm excited. How are you feeling about the roadmap to the exit?
I like it. I just don't.
Oh, okay, go on.
I'm. It's funny because Georgia works for Live Nation, and
right.
They set up Reading Wireless, all that sort of stuff.
Okay,
and,
cool.
She had a meeting last week. She's part of like the production stuff, so it's like getting it all set up and getting the artists in, all that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
And she had a meeting last week, and she was saying that they're planning for like festivals, everything to go ahead. That they're having a plan in place.
Awesome. It's great to hear.
But it's just this. I don't know if it's just I'm very, like, I hope it does. I really do because it would just be nice to be back to normal. Even maybe go to like a festival this year, or do you know what I mean? Something nice, like with loads of
Yeah.
people outdoors, that type of stuff. It's just I find it hard. Like some of the stuff, like the outdoor like pubs and the rule of six and all that sort of stuff. Like I definitely, obviously, that's all going to happen. But I just find it hard to think that in like literally like what 4 months time we're going to be shoulder to shoulder with like thousands of people again. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just find that really hard to believe.
Yeah,
At the
I was
moment,
looking.
I find
I
it
was
hard to
looking at it
believe it.
this morning. You know, from I think it's 17th of May, most social contact rules are going to be lifted. It's going to be
That's
legal
mental,
to
mate.
hug your friend now, which is going to be brilliant. The amount of hugs. I'm going to come over straight over to yours, Reece, and give you a big hug
Yeah,
straight away, mate.
get that bunk bed tent sorted out, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll look at that. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited. I've got a few plans for after
So what?
everything
Yeah,
kind of
what have
goes
you
out.
got? What have you got going on? Like, what you thinking to sort of?
So I've been trying to structure it, and have a look at when everything's opening and see when I can do different bits and bobs. So you got like 8th of March, all the schools are going
Are you
back.
getting the vaccine, by the way?
Course, man, of course I'm getting
Yeah,
the vaccine. Absolutely,
good
yes.
man. Yeah,
I understand people who are apprehensive about taking the vaccine.
anti-vaxxers.
Anti-vaxxers, yeah, I do get that. I do. So real talk now. Yeah, I do get that. People are. I think it takes an awful lot of trust. You know,
Mm,
we're taking Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Oxford, and whatever these manufacturers are, and we're taking their word for it. Obviously, they've been, you know, the government have probably done tests on it and stuff like that, but we're still taking someone's word for it,
mm,
and we're trusting. I think it does take a lot of trust to take the vaccine.
yeah.
But I think that's what you have to have if you want the vaccine, is trust that the
Mm.
government aren't in some crazy scheme to have us all computer chipped or something like that, which is what just probably one conspiracy theory that people are thinking
Oh,
about.
mate, that's just
Um,
one. Yeah,
just one. But for me,
yeah,
it's travel. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in the UK. So,
yeah.
and
Same.
I think it's going to be like a type of yellow fever type of vaccination where you have to have a certificate to say Alex has had the vaccination for coronavirus. Let
Yeah,
him in.
yeah. I think so as
Otherwise,
well.
you can't come in. They were talking about a certificate, weren't they? So,
Mm.
yeah, 100%. I'm getting it. All for it. Yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it. I think that's what they'll do. I think that's what it will be. Not a travel ban, but it's like if you want to go here or there, or whatever, you have to have the
You need the
vaccine.
vaccine.
Yeah,
Yep, that's
which
it.
is
And I'm
fine.
looking
Like,
to do a lot of traveling, so that's what I need.
yeah, exactly. I think it'd be. I sort of made a comparison yesterday when I went traveling the first time. I had to, like, it was around Asia and stuff, so I had to have like a
Mm.
hepatitis jab.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what else I had to have, but
Meningitis, DTP, typhoid, all that sort of stuff.
typhoid. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you have to
yeah.
have that, otherwise
Mm.
you're fucked. So, plus I think it's like I understand people's obviously like quite apprehensive to have it because like, oh, you know, it takes years and stuff, but this is like a coronavirus. It's not the
The whole world's
coronavirus.
worked on this.
Yeah,
All the
it's like,
scientists who are able to make vaccines have been on it. So,
but we've had like coronavirus ain't new. This is just a different strain. So it's like
yeah.
it's not like it's a completely new virus, unheard of. Like no one's ever like even remotely heard of it, anything like that. It's a virus that we've known about and probably studied for like a while before anyway. It's just we've had to
Okay.
speed up the process with
Mm.
getting it done. But coronavirus is just a different. That's why there's all these like mutant strains and South African
Yeah,
strain and all that shit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's just a different strain. But the coronavirus itself is actually is is known. It's just this is a
So you're going
different.
to be confident being inoculated then?
I think so. I'm not like I'm not going to rush out to do it because I don't need to. I'd rather people get vaccinated that need to get vaccinated. George has had it. George has already had it because
She
she
works
works.
in care? Oh
Yeah.
no, she
So
works for that company, doesn't she, doing the events?
no, she's working for that company, but at the moment she's working for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital.
Oh, of course. Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Oh, love her.
so she has to have it because she's in most days of the week. So
Mm, mm.
which you know is just I think everyone's going to need it at some point anyway. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just one of them things, and I think to travel and stuff like if my plans go the way they do, then I'll be in Australia probably next year, and I'm gonna have to have that. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't let that get in the way of like me going to Australia.
So what?
Um,
So yeah, I didn't really talk about my plans, but is that a
Sorry, go
plan
on.
you've
Yeah, go
got?
on.
No, no, is that a plan you've got after? Because you've lived in
It's a
Australia already.
Yeah, yeah. So it depends. It like at the moment they're finishing up. So everything got put on hold. Like the trade agreement talks with Australia,
Right.
and I obviously I don't know if anyone's like keeping up with it. I am only because I sort of take like
I've not a
a lot of
Scooby, mate. I only knew that thing about Aboriginal and Australians that I said earlier. Don't know nothing about
the
it,
three
anything else
brains.
about it. Yeah, about the three brains. That's all. Nandupuru. That's all I know.
So basically, I think it was like mid last year. I think it was like June. Um, Australia and the UK started doing trade agreement talks because obviously we were coming out of the EU.
Yeah.
Um, so they part of like the trade agreement talks is movement of people, and
Mhm.
if we do this trade agreement and it does go through with like of a high level sort of trade agreement, which is what they're going for, then movement of people will be a thing, which means that as a UK citizen you get full living and working rights in Australia.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's wicked. So
Yeah.
if that's the case and that happens, so it got put on hold. Like they wanted to have it done by the end of last year, it got put on hold because of COVID and stuff, which is understandable. And travel to there isn't you can't travel there anyway at the moment, so it's not a problem. But they're finishing off. I think by the end of this, it's by the end of this month, they're finishing off the last round of like trade negotiation talks, and in this last round, they're covering like free movement of people.
The movement back in.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
if
good news then.
so if that happens and it all goes through, then probably when we're allowed to and like like vaccination and all that sort of stuff and travel's allowed, then I'll probably move there permanently.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay.
which is likely, if it does happen, is likely to be next year at some point, but I don't know
Mhm.
when yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed, touch wood, everything. Um, thank you, mate.
Absolutely.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see. And at the moment, like other than that, this year's just one of my mates is from school is getting married, so that'll be a stag do somewhere.
Wow.
Um,
Sweet as.
and probably a holiday with just like a holiday with Georgia somewhere. But
Oh, that's
yeah, what
nice.
about you? What's going on with
Oh
Colombia,
well,
mate?
Colombia. Oh wow.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, I was meant to go to Colombia in March last year, 2020, on the
mm.
day of my flight. 14th of March was the day of my 15th or
I
14th.
remember. I remember.
Oh, mate, I woke up and I was with Liz and we were
That must have been
getting
tragic,
ready
man.
getting ready to go. I had my bags all packed
Oh,
and my mum texted me and she said that the president of Colombia has stopped all travel. Right. Okay.
mm,
So here's me. Look at me. Watch. Like I'll be leaving in a couple of hours.
mm,
If I'm meant to be going, I've said me goodbye to my family and everything like that. So I call up the company that I was going with because I was going to do some volunteering in Colombia. So I call up the company. They said we don't know. We haven't got a clue. You know that it was that time where no one knew what was going on with this whole coronavirus. Everyone was going a bit crazy.
mm.
And then they told me to call the lady that I was meant to be staying with in Cartagena, which is in Colombia. And she said, no, don't worry, don't come because we've got nowhere for you to quarantine. We're not actually running the program as at the same capacity that we used to. So don't come. So there I am on
Oh,
the day I was meant to fly to Colombia for 3 months
okay,
to
Lord.
start my travels and all that. And then in addition to that, I've had a 3 week trip to Bali cancelled. I've had flights to Peru and Bolivia cancelled as well. Luke, Bradley, and I were going to climb up
Oh
Machu
shit,
Picchu.
Machu Picchu. I forgot about that.
We were going to do one of the 7 natural wonders of the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's probably going to be 2022, maybe 2023. So that's
Mm,
had to be pushed back. So yeah, but do you know what? I've been pretty grateful. Although all those travel plans got cancelled, this last year where I've been grounded in England it's changed me completely as a person. It's changed the things that
yeah.
I'm interested in. It's changed my outlook on life, and I probably wouldn't have started doing my YouTube videos, which I so thoroughly enjoy doing now. So it's really you take a silver lining out of every cloud, and that
Yeah,
is it.
yeah.
That
I
it's
it's
given me this time to work on myself and become a better person. and find something that I really enjoy before then going off and doing traveling. So it's been alright.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, it's funny because, like you said last, obviously the first lockdown was pretty good. Like the first lockdown, like was one of the like best summers that I had. Like it was actually really really good. And
For us, obviously, we were on furlough, so
yeah,
we
yeah,
were
it's
all
true.
right. Obviously, for it, it was such a weird time that some people could be having, as long as your family's all okay and you've got maybe a little bit of outside space or something, you're all right. Happy days. So yeah, you enjoy
Mm.
it. But those people whose family are affected, or if you do work in the NHS or for any
Key
care
workers and
facility
stuff.
or
Yeah,
key
yeah.
workers, yeah, bin men, people doing the deliveries and stuff like that. It's a tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I am grateful. I'm very fortunate that we are in a country that gives us things like furlough and has amazing people who
Mm.
will support the country while we enjoy the weather. So
Yeah. So what's the
yeah,
plan then? What's the plan? Like once
my
this is
plan,
all one.
haircut.
Yeah.
Haircut's a plan. Liz is looking at me like, yeah, you're goddamn right, you're getting a haircut.
Sounds
So
good, man.
that's 12th of April. That's in the diary. That's when hairdressers are open. I
Yeah.
think the last time I had a haircut was the 8th of March last year, just before I was just about to go to Colombia. So I haven't had a barnet trim for a year, as you can probably tell. So
You
yeah,
haven't had your
haircut.
haircut for a year.
Yeah, on like the 8th of March or something, it'll be a year. So
Shit.
yeah. Yeah, by the time, oh, cheers, Scott. Emily just put in the comments, Scott says, don't cut it. Me and Scott are the hairy, bearded, long-haired, cool dudes. So
Yeah.
you'll have to talk to Liz about that one, Scott. So,
So yeah,
so yeah,
haircut.
get a haircut. But in all seriousness, the main thing that I've been thinking about doing and I've been preparing for is the Southwest Coast Path. And for those of you that don't know about the Southwest Coast Path, I mentioned it on a video that I did recently, but if you're not sure about it, it's a 630-mile trail from Minehead, which is in Somerset, going around the southwest corner of England. So you go through Cornwall, through Devon, through Cornwall, around Land's End, and then back towards Poole, where you finish. So you start in Minehead and you finish in Poole, and that's in Dorset. It's a 630-mile hike. Will take
Jesus.
about 2 months, and I'm going to
2
be
months.
walking. Yes,
Christ Almighty.
there's an itinerary on the website that has 52 days, but I am just going to take my time with it because I'm also going to be filming it. I'm going to make a documentary about it, and I'm
Cool.
also going to make like a series of vlogs as well to get a bit more personal side of the hike. But
Yeah,
then I'm going to make
definitely.
a cinematic documentary as well.
Yeah, yeah. You should do. I think you should do like a series thing, but also like like a feature thing would be really good as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll do a series and I'll do a feature as well, and that's going to be walking and camping for 2 months straight on the southwest coast of England.
Is that with Liz?
It's on my own.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Liz said she'd take me there. Yeah, Liz, she'll take me there. She'll take me to
She's
Minehead.
doing a drive there and back.
Yeah, she's going to take me there, walk a few days when we get there, and then she can pick me up at the end as well. No, I'm joking. I don't mind getting trained. But yeah, Liz said that she wants to do a few days with me. I'm going to invite as many people as I can to come with me.
So
Not for the whole thing, but if you want to meet me in wherever, come meet me.
that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Get a appointment booked in.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's loads of places.
Cool.
It finishes in Poole, which is in Bournemouth, well by Bournemouth. So it's pretty close by actually for all of the people that are in the south of England. And yeah, that's something that I'm going to have to quit my job for. So if the boss is watching, this is not my notice, but you'll get it.
You're saying it's something I'm going to quit my job for, and there's loads of like hearts that come up on the phone. Quit.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that live. Damn it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to quit the job and go off because it's the best time to do it at the moment. I've not got any responsibilities. I've not got kids.
Yeah.
I've not got houses. I've not got payments. And I need to live. I need to live a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. Absolutely, yeah. It's the time to do it. I'm gonna go mid-May to mid-July, so I miss the summer holidays.
Yeah.
Because Cornwall, Devon, Dorset are going to be
packed
this summer, absolutely rammed. So yeah, I'm going to be going in May. May to June, June to July. So yeah, I'll be doing that.
That's cool, man.
That's my main plan
Nice.
after the haircut.
Good man. Haircut first.
Haircut first, yeah, and then going on from there.
You can't be carrying all extra weight around with you while you're camping, mate.
Mate, it adds about 3 or 4 kilos when it's wet. Tell ya.
Yeah, that's good. No, it's good, man. It's a good plan. Good plan.
Yeah,
you know what you got
my
like
plans.
scheduled out.
Yeah. That's it.
cool,
You've got, as much as I say, it's good to not look too far to the future, but when you're planning for things that you look forward to, it can be a good thing, and it gives you daily things to work towards as well.
Yeah. Because if you know, like, especially for you with like the filming and stuff like that, you know that each thing that you do now will help make that one better. Do you know what I mean? And I've something as well that I never sort of really had before, because like you're just going like a holiday for a week or whatever. I never used to get excited until literally like the day I was leaving. I don't. There's like too much going on and stuff like that. But even speaking to like Georgia and like her mum and stuff like that, they do like this sort of aspect of like having something to look forward to, like a holiday, or do you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially a holiday. So it's nice to have something like in the future to like put in your diary and like just have, oh, well, I've got that coming up. So, you know, working hard all this time, you know, to
especially
have
as nothing's been in the diary for the last year. It's
exactly.
great to be able to, it's fantastic to be able to think that hopefully by 21st of June, we'll be back to normal, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's only if, you know, the vaccination goes up and the virus positive cases come down and everything stays tickety-boo, we'll do our bit, then we'll be all right. But it's looking positive, hopefully. At least it's looking positive. Yeah.
It's looking good. And everyone's planning for it as well, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wrap it up there. I think we covered everything that we wanted to talk about, didn't we?
I think so.
Is there anything or anyone in the comments got any questions at all, or had any questions over the last hour and 15 minutes that we've been chatting that we can discuss a little bit further? I don't think there's anything else from me, at least. I think we're happy days. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was different for me, because last couple of times have been like really fitness orientated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was nice to talk about something near enough like completely different. So and it was more awareness on the are you wearing a top with a bear grilling on it? Yeah, Bear Grylls. Oh dear. That's amazing. Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls, mate. Bear Grylls. Yes, I am, Fran. I am wearing a top with a bear that's grilling on it. Yeah.
Like Bear Grylls. Tell Katie I said hello.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was nice to do something like, especially the mental health stuff. Especially the mental health stuff, yeah, because that's something that we only briefly touched on, I think, last week with the fitness stuff. So yeah, it was really good to like. Yeah, good. Should be watching. Yeah, it was good to do it on a completely different, and it's just something a bit more like, a bit less daunting, a bit more accessible for people. So like with walking and outside and stuff like that, and people realize that they don't have to do like mad exercise to get the health, mental and physical health benefits and stuff. So
yeah, you just have to be outside and be in the environment, and it makes you feel better. Green therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does make you feel better.
So it's good. But
awesome.
Yeah, that's it. I think I've seen no questions in that. So cheers, mate.
Sweet. Cheers, Reece. Really lovely catching up with you. And,
definitely.
Hopefully
We'll do
I'll catch you on
FaceTime soon or something.
Yeah, doing a FaceTime, do a socially distanced walk or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyone that wants to watch more of this live stream as well, it's going to be on my YouTube channel tomorrow, and then you'll be posting it on your IGTV as well.
Yeah.
Here on Instagram. Well. So check out my channel and check out Reece's Instagram. And if you want to rewatch it, or if there's any golden nuggets of information that you wanted to read out, probably coming from Reece, not me. But yeah.
No, it's good.
All right.
Mate. Yeah, it's good to have some gems there.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me on. Take care.
Right, cheers, Dal. Take care, mate. See you later.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Right.